There is a groundbreaking development in Africa. The rift is several miles long, and some believe it is a sign the continent is splitting in two.
While communities were trying to bounce back, we put some safety measures in place. Now, if anything starts to develop, we'll have clues right away. Geologists and seismologists dug deeper into what was happening. It was a rare and mind-blowing look at how the Earth works, showing a rifting process like we've never seen before. It really drives home the planet's raw power and the delicate balance between destruction and discovery, making us think about our connection to this ever-changing world. Back in 2005, the ground beneath Ethiopia's Afar region started shifting in ways that felt almost limitless. A volcanic eruption called Ahu triggered a massive transformation, splitting the landscape wide open. We're talking over 37 miles of deep cracks in the earth, exposing molten rock and heat bubbling away below. In just a few days, whole sections of land moved by meters. Something that usually takes millions of years happened right before our eyes. Picture the earth stretching and pulling apart at its seams, driven by forces deep down. Scientists, armed with satellite images and seismic tools, captured this unusual event as the Somali and Nubian plates began to drift apart. This movement cracked the crust, creating pathways for magma to rise up and letting us peek into the Earth's inner workings. For those watching, it wasn't just a geological event. It felt like witnessing the birth of a new ocean. This isn't just a tale about rocks and lava. It's a look into the Earth's past and future. The Afar Depression gave us a unique view of processes that probably shaped ancient land masses, like Pangaea, millions of years ago. It was like the planet opened its history book, showing us how continents break apart and oceans come to life. Magma pushing up from below acted like a silent architect, pulling the plates further apart. For scientists, this alignment of forces was a revelation, a moment where what they theorized met reality. But the story doesn't stop with the eruption at Darbar. This event kicked off a journey that will keep changing not just the geography of the region, but also how we understand our planet. In Afar, the Earth is restless. It's a place where the ground feels alive, ready to rewrite the map of Africa. This is a story of transformation, not just for the land, but for our connection to the dynamic, ever-evolving world beneath our feet. Underneath East Africa, the Earth is alive, shifting and changing in ways that remind us of its incredible dynamism. The East African Rift is an incredible geological wonder that stretches over 3,000 kilometers from Ethiopia's Afar Depression all the way down to Mozambique. But it's not just a simple crack in the Earth's crust. It's a fascinating story of creation, destruction, and change happening right before our eyes. Here, the Earth is literally tearing itself apart, splitting the African continent into two pieces. And guess what? This could lead to the birth of a new ocean. At the center of this epic transformation are two tectonic plates. The Somali plate is drifting southeast, while the Nubian plate is moving northwest. Their separation isn't just a mechanical thing. It's like a powerful dance fueled by magma rising up from deep within the Earth's mantle. This molten rock pushes its way into the rift, building up pressure that forces the plates apart, creating cracks, fissures, and fault lines. As the plates keep drifting, the crust stretches and becomes thin, making it more susceptible to splitting even further. What's really cool about this whole situation is that it's not just massive in size, it's something we can actually see happening in many places around the globe. Tectonic changes usually take millions of years to show up, but the East African Rift is alive with activity that we can witness in our lifetime. You've got earthquakes shaking the ground, new fissures popping up, and volcanic eruptions reminding us of the powerful forces at play beneath our feet. The role of magma in this process is huge. As it seeps into the cracks and cools, it creates new crust, setting off a cycle of destruction and renewal that's similar to what's happening in mid-ocean ridges under the sea. But the rift isn't just about magma. Gravity also plays a role, pulling massive chunks of the crust downward as the plates pull apart. This sinking creates deep valleys and tall escarpments, some of which fill up with water to form the region's famous lakes, like Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi. These lakes aren't just pretty to look at. They show off the rift's incredible power to change landscapes. They trace the rift's path, acting like markers of its journey and giving us a sneak peek into the geological processes at work in the area. The rich soils around these lakes have supported life for thousands of years, but this balance won't last forever. One day, water from the Red Sea and Indian Ocean will flood the rift. When that happens, Africa will split into two distinct land masses, and a new ocean basin will form between them. This isn't just a wild idea. It's a certainty based on the principles of plate tectonics. Similar things have happened in Earth's past, like when the supercontinent Pangaea broke apart and led to the formation of the Atlantic Ocean. The East African Rift is just the beginning of this epic geological story. Even though the formation of a new ocean will take tens of millions of years, we're already seeing signs of this future in the Afar Depression. Parts of the rift are already below sea level, slowly sinking as magma-induced subsidence continues. Satellite data shows that the rift is widening by a few millimeters each year, a slow but steady march toward a transformed continent. When that new ocean finally appears, it will change the region in profound ways. Africa's physical geography will shift, creating coastlines where there aren't any today and giving rise to new marine ecosystems that will thrive in ways we can't even imagine right now. But this transformation comes with its own set of challenges. Communities that depend on the rift's fertile valleys and lakes will face displacement as waters rise. Entire ways of life might need to adapt or even vanish, and we can't ignore the human cost of such changes. Plus, volcanic activity, which is already significant in the rift, could get even more intense, posing risks to those living nearby. Eruptions might disrupt lives, damage infrastructure, and force people to evacuate. The changing geology could also impact local climates, changing wind patterns and rainfall, which could affect agriculture and access to fresh water. Despite these challenges, the East African Rift is a powerful reminder of the Earth's creative energy. It vividly shows us how tectonic forces are constantly reshaping our planet, creating and destroying in an endless cycle. The rift isn't just a geological feature, it's a story of resilience, adaptation, and the unstoppable passage of time. At its core lies the Afar Depression, a place that feels like the edge of the world. Here, the land seems raw and unfinished, like a canvas where nature's forces are at work in their most basic form. The rift represents new beginnings, giving us a glimpse into the processes that have shaped the Earth's continents and oceans for billions of years. As we take a look at the changes happening around us, it's hard not to feel a connection to our planet. The story of the East African Rift is basically our story too. A tale of change, uncertainty, and endless possibilities. It's a chance for us to appreciate the forces that shape our world and to respect the fragile balance of life that these landscapes support. Plus, it gets us thinking about what the future holds for a region that has the power to completely alter the fabric of our planet. In the East African Rift, we're not just looking at the Earth's history, we're also catching a glimpse of its future, unfolding little by little. Deep beneath East Africa, something pretty amazing is happening. The land is slowly being pulled apart, not with a big bang, but through the gradual drift of tectonic plates. You might not notice it right away, but over millions of years, this slow movement will change the region completely, even creating a new ocean where there used to be land. At the center of this change are the Nubian and Somali plates, which are moving away from each other at a rate of up to 2 inches a year. It might seem small, but trust me, it adds up. This movement is driven by powerful currents of heat and molten rock deep within the Earth's mantle. These convection currents are pushing and pulling the crust, which creates fractures and weakens the land above, leading to the East African Rift. This tension is forming steep valleys, dramatic cliffs, and cracks that are reshaping the landscape into something entirely new. And guess what? This process isn't just happening in East Africa. It's similar to how oceans have formed throughout Earth's history. A long time ago, the South American and African continents were pulled apart by similar forces, which created the Atlantic Ocean. Now, in East Africa, we're seeing this unfold on land, a rare and cool look at how our planet works. As the plates drift apart, magma rises from the mantle to fill the gaps, solidifying to create new crust. Over time, this cycle of pulling apart and magma rising will turn the East African Rift into an ocean basin, much like the Red Sea or the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. But this transformation isn't quiet at all. It comes with constant reminders of the Earth's restless energy. Earthquakes shake the region, resulting from the tectonic stress that builds and releases as the plates shift. Take the double event in 2005, for instance, when over 130 earthquakes happened in just 1 week, changing the landscape dramatically. These seismic movements remind us of the powerful forces working beneath our feet. And let's not forget about the volcanoes. They're like monuments to the Earth's fiery core. The rift is home to some of the world's most active volcanoes, like Ethiopia's Arta Ali and Tanzania's Oldoinyo Lengai. These fiery giants not only erupt magma, but also weaken the crust, speeding up the rifting process. Each eruption adds new layers of rock, shaping the terrain and showcasing the dynamic relationship between magma and crust. You'll also find geothermal features all over this region, where the Earth's heat comes close to the surface. Hot springs, fumaroles, and boiling mud pools are all signs of the magma lurking just below, transforming the land into surreal, otherworldly landscapes. The East African Rift isn't just a geological wonder, it's also a living lab of change. At its northern end, there's the Afar Depression, a low-lying area that's already below sea level. Cracks in the crust let magma meet groundwater, creating lakes of boiling mud, and sometimes even temporary lava lakes. As the plates keep drifting and the rift expands, seawater from the Red Sea and Indian Ocean will eventually flood this area, giving rise to a new ocean. This isn't some distant dream. It's a real glimpse into the planet's natural cycle of creation and destruction. But this transformation doesn't just affect the land. It impacts the millions of people living in the Rift region. For these communities, the land is more than a scientific marvel. It's home. The constant earthquakes, shifting landscapes, and volcanic eruptions bring challenges that require resilience and adaptability. Yet, there's something humbling about witnessing this transformation. It reminds us that we're part of a vast, interconnected system that's always evolving, even if we can't always see it happening. The Rift is a place where the Earth's restless energy meets the surface, changing not just the land, but also our understanding of how life and geology are linked. Looking ahead, we can't help but wonder, how will communities adapt to an ever-changing environment? What opportunities might arise from this dynamic process? And what can we learn about our role in the ongoing story of our planet? The East African Rift is more than just a geological phenomenon. It's a testament to patience and persistence. It's a living example of how the world evolves in both dramatic and subtle ways. This slow transformation is unstoppable, reminding us of the forces that have shaped our Earth for billions of years and will keep doing so long after we're gone. It's a story of creation, resilience, and our deep connection to a planet that's always on the move. Deep beneath the surface, an incredible transformation is happening in East Africa. The land is splitting apart, driven by the immense forces of nature, and in its place, a new ocean is starting to take shape. It's a story written in the language of tectonic plates. The Somali Plate and Nubian Plate are slowly drifting apart, and it's quite the journey. It all kicks off with the land cracking open, creating deep fissures that signal some major changes ahead. Volcanic eruptions and earthquakes bring life to the barren landscape, carving out valleys that are flanked by towering cliffs. Over many years, these valleys start to widen and sink, becoming pathways for transformation. As the rift deepens, some parts sink below sea level, letting water from nearby seas creep in and form shallow gulfs, where life used to thrive on solid ground. It's a quiet, yet mesmerizing change, giving us a sneak peek into what's coming. Eventually, this gulf will stretch out even further, making room for a whole new ocean. New seafloor will rise up from magma filling the gaps, and East Africa will end up cradling a brand new ocean forever, reshaping the geography of our world. This whole process is a journey of time, patience, and nature's incredible power. Underneath East Africa, something amazing is quietly happening. A story of the Earth reshaping itself, inch by inch. This is the East African Rift, where the land is slowly tearing apart, gearing up to give birth to a brand new ocean. It's a process so vast and slow that it really puts things into perspective, reminding us of Earth's relentless rhythm over millions of years. Scientists think that in about 5 to 10 million years, this rift will fully turn into an ocean, changing the geography and ecosystems of the region forever. Imagine the Somali Plate breaking away from the African continent, creating a stunning new island with parts of Ethiopia, Somalia, and Djibouti, surrounded by vast blue waters. This echoes ancient tales from Earth's history, kind of like how Madagascar dramatically split from Africa millions of years ago. Coastlines will shift, and countries like Kenya and Tanzania will end up with new shores. The landscapes we know today will look completely different, and as this change happens, life will evolve too. Ecosystems will adjust, species will find new homes, and human communities will build new connections to this emerging ocean. As we watch this grand transformation, it's a reminder that Earth is alive, always changing, and creating a timeless dance of destruction and renewal. The East African Rift lets us see the Earth in action, reshaping itself in ways that are both profound and awe-inspiring. Beneath its surface, a quiet but powerful transformation is taking place, echoing the birth of oceans and continents from millions of years ago. This isn't just geology, it's the pulse of a living planet. Going back around 30 million years, the Arabian Plate started drifting away from Africa, giving us the Red Sea. It kicked off with fiery volcanic eruptions and tremors, just like what we're seeing in East Africa today. Over time, the rift widened, and magma rose up to create a new ocean floor. What once looked like a chaotic split turned into the start of a new ocean. Even further back, about 200 million years ago, Pangaea's massive split gave rise to the Atlantic Ocean. This ancient story is kind of a preview of what East Africa might become, a place where land gives way to water, changing the continent and connecting us to Earth's timeless rhythm of change. When continents drift apart, or rifts slowly open to form huge oceans, life undergoes some amazing transformations. Isolated ecosystems emerge, much like Madagascar's unique species that evolved after breaking away from Africa. As seawater floods these rifts, vibrant marine worlds take shape, from glowing coral reefs to mysterious deep-sea habitats. The land and climate adapt, influencing life and reshaping human existence. The East African Rift is one of those special places full of possibilities, a spot where change hints at new worlds and untold stories of life. As East Africa quietly welcomes a new ocean, the very foundation of our planet is shifting beneath us. This transformation could bring life-saving rain to once dry areas, offering new hope for agriculture and ecosystems. But with all this change, there will be challenges too. Wetter regions might dry up, and communities will need to adapt. Nature's resilience is on full display, reminding us that nothing stays the same. As the Earth reshapes itself, we're witnessing a story of evolution, not just in the land, but in life itself. What do you think about this incredible transformation? Drop a comment below. And if you found this journey into Earth's future fascinating, don't forget to hit like.